So welcome back to another episode, and today I'm going to share some early impressions of Dragon Quest XI, the import PS4 version. I've been playing it for quite a few hours, and it's been really cool, and I can't wait to talk a lot about those early impressions. It's been a hell of a Dragon Quest week. So much information has come out. Dragon Quest Builders 2 has officially been announced. Japan only at this time. It's coming to Switch as well, and it's going to be up to 4 players. So my wife freaked out when she heard that. I wish I could have filmed her reaction, because I was outside. I'm like, oh, by the way, Dragon Quest Builders is coming out. And she just goes, ah! She just like screams. I can't quite do the same scream, but she was quite excited about that. Also, Japan only right now. Dragon Quest 1 to 3 is coming to PS4 and onto 3DS. That's coming in August. So lots of Dragon Quest news has come out. Now, this game came out a week ago in Japan. It has already sold 3 million copies. Dragon Quest always does very, very well in Japan. Over here, it does okay. It's starting to get more of a following. I'm really happy about that. But one thing I want to say is there is a 3DS version of this game as well in Japan. And here's the crazy thing. We have 3 distinctly different versions of the game, only in visuals. So we have the PS4 version, we have the 3DS version, which is 3D, and there's also a 2D version of the same game included in there. So you can play in 3D or in 2D like the original Dragon Quest games. Here's the thing, the story and the characters are the same for all 3 versions of the game. I'm calling all 3 versions, it's really realistically 2. I'm just talking about the 3 graphical differences. And there's one other thing that is absolutely fascinating that not a lot of people are talking about, is that you can take your save file from one version of the game into the other, from the 3DS version into the PS4, from the PS4 into the 3DS. How do you do it? You can't obviously migrate saves in some capacity from 2 different companies. There's a password option, like in the original Dragon Quest 1 and 2. There's a password option in all of these games, so you'll have to write down this huge password and you can transfer your data back and forth that way. So that's something really cool. I haven't seen that before. So let's talk about Dragon Quest XI. What's the first thing I want to say? I don't think we're going to see this game in the West till February, March of 2018. And I couldn't resist. I've obviously imported a lot of games in my time. Dragon Quest is one that I always have to do. I did the same thing for Dragon Quest Heroes. I had a lot of fun playing the game. I can only get through a bit of the game because of the language barrier, but I've been going through a lot of tutorials online and reading up some game facts and stuff like that to see how other people have gone past certain elements in the game. So I have been able to progress a little bit into the game. I'm not going to give any spoilers. I'm very early into the game. Let's talk about the graphics. I actually have to take a moment. I was blown away by the graphical look of this game as soon as I turned it on. From the rendered cinematics of the opening, which is just phenomenal, to the in-game graphics that you play with. And as soon as I started to play the game and run around the world, I was in absolute awe. These visuals are stunning, and they are the best visuals I've ever seen in a Dragon Quest game. I think up to this point, my favorite visuals in a Dragon Quest game would have been, just from a visual standpoint, would be 10, but definitely 8. Definitely 8 was the game that was always up there as being the best looking Dragon Quest game. And this game has completely demolished it in that regard. I was like, wow, I can't believe how they've upped the ante. And we're talking about going from caves to waterfalls into the town areas. And the town areas are so detailed. When you enter a house now, you should see the graphical look inside of all the items and, you know, the bed frames and the wood and the panelings. Just this, everything about the curtains. I was just in awe, and then running around and seeing the sun and the visuals, seeing the day to night aspects in the game. And we've seen that in Dragon Quest games before, but to see it now as beautiful as it does, it's just absolutely wonderful. So you won't be disappointed in the graphics at all. Gameplay wise, very smooth. As soon as the game gave me control of my main character and I was running around and I was like, moving the camera around, I was like, this is completely smooth. This plays wonderfully. And what's so unusual is the jump button. I was like, I hit it by accident and I jumped. I'm like, oh yeah, I got a jump button. That's so weird. It was just so funny to hear that sound. I'm like, I can't believe I got a jump button. That's really a cool new addition that it allows you to get to some different parts in the game and to discover some different secrets and to open up some different areas. That's something I do enjoy about the gameplay in this game is the interactivity with the game world. So you can just be running around, you see a rope, you'll climb the rope, you can jump onto ledges. Here's a very interesting comparison. It reminds me a lot of Zelda. When you get to a certain area, you'll just jump or you'll be able to climb up to the next ledge. Feels very like that, and I'm gonna get into something else here. I'll mention the horse before I mention the combat, because if we're still into comparing it to Zelda a little bit, there's a horse in this game that you can ride. And I was like, oh, geez, how is this going to happen? How is this going to play out? Is this going to, am I going to be bumping into walls? Is it going to be frustrating? Because we played a lot of games in the past where we played, with horses, and sometimes it can be frustrating. Breath of the Wild really got it right. Red Dead Redemption got it really right as well. Let me tell you, they got it really right in this game. You never end up running into a wall and getting stuck. It feels very fluid, very open, very easy to control, and it's totally fun. I really enjoy this, and I'm going to get into combat now, is that you can get into combat while you're riding your horse. So how combat works into this game is that you'll see enemies in front of you in the field map. And if you're running around on the horse, you're just running around in general, you can just go up, sneak up on them, hit them from behind with an action attack, and then you start combat. Then we go into turn-based combat, but you can move within that combat, and you can rotate the camera angle, and you can give commands to the other party members. And that's really awesome. And that's what I do like about combat is you're in and out very fast from the main world to combat back to the main world. There's not some great loading screens. They've done a good job over the years of reducing that and getting rid of it entirely. And that's something else I want to talk about here is loading screens. When the game first begins loading, there's a little bit of loading just to get the game kicked off, but it's seamless from one area to the next, It just feels, it flows. When you go into a cave, you just keep on going into it, and just gorgeous looking stuff. The storyline I'm going to touch on a little bit here. I'm not too far in. Obviously the game is in full Japanese, so there's only so much I can figure out, and that's not a hell of a lot. All I know at this point is you control the main hero, you turn 16, you have to do a trial. It seems that you're the descendant of the legendary hero, and there's a little bit going on there. There's some little creatures that are spying on you throughout the game. You leave the town after the trial, and then the game really opens up from there. And I think that's the best place to start it. Kim was really frustrated because she's like, man, she's like, this game is so incredible. It's so awesome. I just want to play it and understand every command window and everything in there. And I can understand a lot because we played so many Dragon Quest games. We can understand the menu and we can, upgrade our equipment and stuff like that and buy equipment. No problem. Save and continue on. But a lot of, obviously, the details of the game are lost on us. And Kim is just so frustrated. She's like, well, when's this game coming out? Is it coming out in a couple of months? I'm like, no, I think this game's coming out like 2018. She's like, what? She's like freaking out about it. So the game just whet her appetite. It is so good. I think RPG players have got a lot to look forward to in 2018. It's a little bit of a ways away. I couldn't wait. I am a huge Dragon Quest fan. I had to see what they've done with this game. How is the music? The music is good. I've seen some complaints with fellow friends in the Dragon Quest community that think the music isn't that good. And I'm like, I think it's totally fine. It's Dragon Quest music. I've got no problem with that at all. But I think everybody's going to wait till 2018. I can't wait to play a little bit more of this game and then play the English version and play the 3DS version. And that's something that we don't know right now. I obviously, they've announced that Dragon Quest XI is coming out on PS4, but are we going to get the 3DS versions? I wonder what's going to happen with that. Is there going to be a Nintendo 3DS version of Dragon Quest XI? Are we going to get that? I don't know at this point. We're going to find out soon. They're going to have to announce all this stuff soon. I'll keep you up to date as soon as I hear it. I'll be tweeting it out. I'll be going pretty crazy at that point. So, guys, I just wanted to give some early impressions on Dragon Quest XI today. It's fantastic so far. I'm loving every minute of it. So, anyways, guys, until next time.